Hey leaders, welcome to another Theology Thursday. It's been a few weeks. I hope that you guys are having a good summer so far, and I'm glad that you clicked on this video. I'm actually going to read very short, it's like a page and a half, but a story from this book I'm reading. It's called Peacemaker by Ken Sande, and it's very good. It's all about making peace in our relationships. It's super biblically based. There's a story in here that I thought was really powerful. Actually, when I was doing the reading, I wrote in my margin right here, I wrote Theology Thursday. So I plan on sharing this story with you guys. Bear with me. I know I'm not really looking at you. I'm going to read from the book, but it's cheaper than buying the book, and I think you'll enjoy it. So, all right, let me jump in. The whole concept right here is they're talking about how powerful a testimony of reconciliation actually can be. So there's the context that brings you up to speed. So it says, I still remember the first time I saw this principle demonstrated. I was in law school. I had brought a friend to church. Thinking that she might benefit from my church, I invited her to worship with me one Sunday. Moments after we took our seats, Pastor E surprised everyone. He called for the attention of the congregation and asked one of the elders to come forward. Suddenly I remembered that these two men had a heated discussion during the previous week's Sunday school class. Oh no, I thought. Pastor is going to rebuke him in front of the whole church. I was already embarrassed as my pastor continued. As most of you know, he said, Kent and I had an argument during Sunday school last week. Our emotions got out of hand, and we said some things that should have been discussed in private. As I thought about the first impression Cindy must be getting, my stomach just sank. Of all the days to bring someone to church, I thought, why did I pick this one? I was sure that this incident would discourage Cindy and would destroy her respect for my pastor. Pastor E put his arm around Kent's shoulders and went on. We want you to know that we met later that afternoon to resolve our differences. By God's grace, we came to understand each other better, and we were fully reconciled. But we need to tell you how sorry we are for disrupting the unity of this fellowship, and we ask for your forgiveness for the poor example that we gave last week. Many eyes were filled with tears as Kent made a similar statement, and unfortunately, I was so worried about what Cindy was thinking that I missed the significance of what was happening. Making a nervous comment to Cindy, I opened up the hymnal to our first song and hoped that she would forget about the whole incident. The rest of the service was a blur. Before long, I was driving her home. We made light conversation for a few minutes, but eventually Cindy referred to what had happened. I still can't believe that your pastor did this morning. I've never seen a minister do something like that. Can we come back next week? So it says next, during subsequent visits, Cindy listened intently when my pastor spoke. Having seen the power of the gospel in his life, she was eager to hear about the salvation and freedom that she could experience by trusting Jesus. Within a month, she committed her life to Christ and made our church her spiritual home. When I brought Cindy to the church that first morning, I had hoped to impress her with the friendliness of my friends and the preaching of my pastor. But God had a far more effective plan in mind. He exposed the embarrassing conflict in our midst, and he showed that my pastor was far from perfect. And then against his humble backdrop of imperfections, he revealed his grace by demonstrating the reconciling power of Jesus Christ in our midst. By moving two men to breathe grace in the midst of conflict, God brought Cindy into his kingdom. And I wrote in my margin on that next page, right where it says, and I hope to impress Cindy with the friendliness of my friends and the preaching of my pastor, but God had far more effective plans in mind. I wrote out to the side of there, amen. The truth is, like every Sunday, we try to do our best. We prepare the best we can when we preach, and we study hard and maybe even rehearse elements of the service, and Pastor Tim is working hard with his team to make sure that the music is excellent, and we try to clean up the place, and we try to remove all the distractions, and no matter how much we prepare, there's still things that they just go wrong because we're all people. I think in church there's a tendency to minimalize the fact that we're humans, and to promote our sanctified selves and kind of demote the fact that we're broken and hurting and messed up too, and we still struggle with sin too, and there are still days that we're not doing a great job ourselves as followers of Jesus. And that's not just for pastors. All of us can kind of fall into this trap. The reason I wanted to read this to you is to encourage you a little bit to consider how real are you being with your people. is what they see, a very polished, perfect version of yourself. Now, the reality is, like, when we go outside in public, I hope, you tell your kids things like, don't you embarrass me when we're in public, right? Like, there is a sense of, like, you're not at home, right? When you come to church, don't lounge around in your underwear. Like, maybe change out of your pajamas. Go ahead and brush your teeth. None of those things are wrong. So I'm not saying, like, you don't have to treat everyone like they're in your living room, but is there a level of authenticity with you and I as leaders? In this scenario, in this story right here, it was really, really powerful to the point of salvation for this woman to see the power of the gospel working in what she already knew, that pastor or not, that he was a man and he struggled with the same things that she struggled with, but seeing how God worked in that situation, he did a pretty incredible thing there. So I just wanted you to consider that this week. How real are you being? Now, I could say there's being too real. Keeping it real doesn't mean we have to be rude, and keeping it real doesn't mean we have to go out of our way to display all of our faults. That's not what I'm saying, but burying and covering up every one of our struggles may not be the answer. There actually may be a lot of people that benefit and are ministered to because you don't cover up all your struggles, that you talk about them, that you ask for prayer about them. There's something really powerful when that happens. So the other thing that I want to bring, we'll kind of close with this thought. The other thing I wanted to bring to your attention is just not just in general being vulnerable, but the power that reconciliation really has. I don't know about you, but I've had my fair share of conflicts in my life. Reconciliation is never really easy, but it's super powerful, and ultimately it can affect your worship. That your worship will be tainted if you have unresolved conflict in your life. Now, I have something that I want to offer to you. I accidentally bought 2 of this book. Here's another book I'm reading for this class. Confronting Without Offending, Positive Practical Steps to Resolving Conflict. This is a phenomenal book. It is not a heady read at all. This is a book you could probably read in like 2 settings, depending upon how much time you have. And this is actually full of tools they're very practical, and I think that they're easy to implement quickly, but it's tools and steps to resolving conflict. Someone, maybe you or someone in your life, would really benefit from having this, and I want to give this away as a gift. I ordered 2. The book's like $6 on Amazon. It would cost me like $3.99 to ship it back. It makes no sense for me to do all that for $2. And I thought, well, what am I going to do with 2 of the same book? So I $6 or not, to me, this was an incredibly valuable resource. I want to give it to one of you. And what I want to do is the first person to text me, 706-409-1307. The first one of you to text me and say, Matt, I would like the book. It's yours. I'll have it in my office. Just come find me Sunday morning, and I'll make sure I'll get your copy of your book to you. So it's a race. Whoever sees it first and contacts me first, they can have the book. If you do want to get it yourself, again, here's the cover. There's our author. And I think it's fantastic. I think I read it in like 3 hours. I couldn't put it down. It was wonderful. I hope you guys are having an awesome week. I hope you guys are having a fantastic summer. I look forward to seeing you Sunday.